Thanks for tuning in. What?
Oh, sorry. Did I just like mess it up already?
Yeah, pretty much.
Are we already recording?
Yeah, I hit the start
seriously.
button.
Okay, you know what? You're really close to losing your honorary third position in Loser Kid.
All right, thanks for tuning into the Loser Kid Pinball Podcast. I'm probably going to leave that. We'll see what happens. We're on episode 103. I am Josh Roop, with me, my co-host, as always.
Scott Larson.
I guess co-captain, because, captains are just as important.
Sure. I'm number 2.
And, oh my goodness. You know what? Foo Fighters just came out. Scott, where did you buy Foo Fighters?
Wow. You know what? Okay, I will say that I was super unknown about like what to expect on this. I'm on record in saying that I thought the Jurassic Park Home Edition was actually fun. It was a lot of fun. Just, however, it didn't really give you much to know exactly how much Jack could do with a full budget and a cornerstone game.
Hold on, where are you going with this?
Do you want me to answer that?
I asked you where you buy Foo Fighters from.
Where I buy Foo Fighters from? Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay, sorry. I thought we were like jumping into Foo Fighters. Okay, this is a total amateur hour. Okay, if I were to get a Foo Fighters, and I probably will after watching that stream today, I would contact Zach and Nicole Minnie at Flippin' Out Pinball, and they've always helped us out. They are sponsors of the show, and we appreciate what they do. And I think their phone has been blowing up with Foo Fighters. So all Foo, whatever Foos you up, definitely call them.
Definitely. And like I said earlier, I have been having issues with my Godzilla. Greg Bone has taken amazing care of me. He's walked me through all the technical skills I needed to properly diagnose my Godzilla. I got the part within 2 weeks. I just put him in 2 nights ago. The building is up and working again. I'm loving it. Seriously, you don't buy a company just for the product. It's also for the customer service. And with that in mind, we decided to bring someone else on from a different pinball company, literally the pinball company. And
from Fox Cities Pinball.
Yes, thank you.
Streaming.
Travis and Tom.
Somewhere.
Yep.
We had Joel last week on from Triple Drain, and so we decided to bring the other two on board, and really Travis has been the honorary third host for Loser Kid for a while. So, and we all know Tom because he talks so much.
True.
But okay, first
I
off,
want to say I appreciate you guys having me here more than anything. Even though I already messed up the beginning, and now all of a sudden my son has just walked in, and now he wants to have a conversation too.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
So just 1 second. You guys go right on ahead.
What's up, bro? All right.
The fun of podcasting with kids.
Oh,
yes.
Absolutely. Usually I'm waving at them. So
yeah, it's same here. Same.
I just asked him what he needs, and he just looks at me. He's just like, "It's nothing, Dad." I'm like, "Are you interrupting me?"
Then why did you come in here?
Legitimately, I do wonder if we should offer like a YouTube version of this to see if people want to watch us actually talk. Like I honestly have no idea. I certainly have a face for radio, but it certainly would be interesting to see if people actually tune in and watch.
Well, now we actually have a YouTube channel, so maybe if I can convince Scott just to edit the video, we'll be all good to go. I don't know, or just slap it up unedited, like raw, like this.
I will definitely add. Oh, there's Travis. El Gato, no signal. Travis is legendary for being the only person in like the 21st century that does not have a camera that's actually dedicated on that is a part of your computer system. I think he has like
we couldn't fix it.
Yeah. So.
Whatever. I thought Tom has the coin slot. You put the 25 cents in, you get another 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then once his camera goes out, you put another 25 cents in.
It's the magic fingers. The magic fingers of podcasting.
Exactly.
For those of you who are younger than 40, Magic Fingers was some little vibrating thing. It was like a shaker motor for your Motel 6 bed. So
I'm so glad you finished that sentence.
Wait, what? It was what now?
Okay, I'm not kidding. It was like this shaker motor that was bolted on the bed, and you would put a quarter in, and it would basically shake the bed. It was called Magic Fingers.
Think of the worst massage you've ever had.
Really? So you done it also, Tom? Is that what you're saying?
I have done it.
How do you guys run into this stuff? Do your parents just drop you guys off at like shady motels?
Okay.
Like, here, son,
Okay.
Scott, here, do the magic finger thing. We'll be back in 5 hours.
Okay, you're assuming that like we are not high class when I was growing up.
Right.
Like, it was definitely like, let's find the cheapest room. You're like, you're definitely you're adjacent to the renting by the hour rooms, and also the let's just say the nighttime activities. And so you just want to sleep with something under your bed just in case someone broke in, or was drunk. Yeah,
Scott,
that's the kind of
the generation. We're lucky we're alive.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Okay, seriously, like there was no such thing as air. We put air tags on our kids. Like, there was no air tags on the kids. It was like when the lights come down, show up. That's pretty much it.
I went to first grade, and my mom gave me a key and was like, basically like, get off the bus, let yourself in. I'll be home in 2 hours.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What shocked me the most is I got to drive a 1969 Chevy Camaro about 15 years ago. And I hopped in, I revved it up, I was excited, and I'm like, where's the seatbelt? I didn't know that they didn't invent seatbelts till like the early 70s or the like mid 70s.
Oh yeah. Hey Tom, tell me about the car seat that you had growing up.
Right. It was called jumping around in the back seat.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Okay, we had 7 kids, and we had a van that had 8 seats. So once you add the parents, and I'm the youngest, guess who sat on the ground leaning against the engine compartment? That was basically my seat. And it wasn't there wasn't even any pad on it. That was just me like feeling the magic fingers of the road as we're flying down.
Oh,
no quarter needed.
So much now.
Yeah, I know, right?
So much.
Oh my goodness.
Josh, you see what I go through here? It's like, this is what I do every week with Joel too, where he's always like, we're going to talk about this. And then we go 30 minutes somewhere else. And he's like, now let's just dive right into it.
Now
Dive right in.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
At least there'll be no Halloween talk.
Oh yes.
Oh, jeez.
But we can talk about Scooby-Doo because Foo Fighters came out, and there's some obvious references in that game to pop culture in general. So
Zoinks.
So now that I cut you off like 6 minutes ago, Scott, do you want to finish your thought process on what you were saying about Foo Fighters?
Now let's just pretend that whole screwed up intro did not happen, and let me tell you about my first impressions of the game. So I really was. I didn't know what to expect. Jack, he put out I thought a very fun home edition, but we all know that it's not a full cornerstone game. So it is stripped down on the mechs, it's stripped down on the flow. So I was like, well, I'm not sure if for a first time effort, if it will, if I'll be interested, I guess.
Yeah.
And I will say, after watching the stream, wow, it definitely blew my expectations away. And it not only looks fun, it looks polished. It looks like it has already a good baseline rule set. And my gosh, those expression lightings look so good.
Oh, you guys and your expression lighting.
Yeah, I seriously, I don't know how you can have any music pins without expression lighting.
Lights.
Yeah. So, am I excited about this game? Oh yeah, I'm totally excited. I'm sure I will buy one at some point.
What are your thoughts, Sexy Tom? By the way, we all get to name ourselves, and Tom has obviously dubbed himself Sexy Tom, and Travis is Joel Sucks. And then I'm Loser Kid, and Scott's just Scott. So it's just another day.
So I went super creative.
But we do fun names when we do our podcast.
Well, you role play too. So
True. I am extremely excited for this pin. I didn't know what to expect, with Jack coming out of the woodwork, only doing that home pin, and this game looks amazing. I at first looked at it and I thought, I'm gonna get a pro, and then I thought about it and I saw all the cool stuff on the mini playfield, and I was just like, all right, I got to get an LE. It's it it looks amazing.
I love how you went from pro to LE. The premium wasn't even an option. It's just like,
I don't want to install those damn expression lights.
Yes, yeah. Well, yeah.
And I mean,
Those
it's just
peasants
it's
down there.
so shocking that the Tom Graff, the LE elitist, would get a LE. So it's very shocking for sure.
Yes.
He was not going to slum it and get a pro.
He was just teasing us that he would.
Honestly, the pro looks really good.
No, I think it does too, actually.
Yeah, I kind of like the art package on the cabinet better on the pro.
Okay.
But me personally, but
you don't like the mystery machine on the side?
No, I guess, no, I liked it. Yeah.
So Travis, you literally got paid to stare at this for like 10 plus hours yesterday, and then you got to watch it tonight. What are your thoughts, Mr.? I'm professionally paid to stare at pinball machines for hours now.
I take money for my hobby.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I've probably looked at the pictures now and videos for, what is it, Wednesday?
Yeah.
So probably at least 25 hours at this point.
Wow.
Like it's just, it's just insane. It feels like the past 2 days have just been all day long. But no, I mean, I share the same sentiments you guys do. And of course, we all talk off podcasts and all that. And the questions are with everybody, like, what would this pin look like? And Jack, he was upfront that he was going to bring back Weird to pinball. And we didn't know what that would mean exactly. So where was that going to come from? Was it going to come from Gottlieb? Was it going to come from Bally? What era? But we knew it wasn't going to be a fan layout. Like, that's the one thing we know, because you don't use those words and just go safe. So I was very excited to see what would come out of it. And to be honest with you, this does exceed expectations from what I had. And I didn't know what it would be. It was just, we don't think of Stern putting out weird layouts. You know what I mean? Like, we think of it, or anything that's strange or whatever you call it. We think of it more or less that they put out stuff that's dynamic, like if it's a Keith Elwin or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But with this, it almost feels like, and I've said this to a couple other people, it feels like they almost out spookied Spooky with this pin. Agree. Like that's what it seems like to me. It's almost like, when you look at it, there's just so many unique things to it, from whether it's the end lanes, from the kicker target, right? And just stuff like that, the figure 8 coming all the way around, the jump ramp that goes to the quick 180. There's a lot of unique things about this pin. And the most shocking thing about it, watching it this evening, that there was a ton of flow to it. And that thing, it was not really clunky at all. I mean, I was very surprised by that, because looking at it, I was wondering that about the jump ramp. I was wondering about the figure 8. How would that return? And my only true concern with it was the end lanes, just seeing how they were kind of offset because of the targets. I was wondering how that would affect things. And it really didn't look like it affected that much on here with everybody there. But that being said, that could be a result of all of them playing it a lot, so they knew what to expect. And it could be a result of how the game is set up. So I'm still curious how that will be, because it doesn't look like, even in the promo videos, it doesn't look like it's a smooth feed all the time. So that might move timing or something like that. But then again, like, maybe you can say that's just the uniqueness of the layout as well.
Yeah. Looking at it too, I had concerns. I'd sat down with Jack multiple times after JP Home had come out, and we were talking about the cornerstone, and he wasn't giving much information away besides it's going to be weird. And he was referencing Judge Dredd a lot. I was telling you guys this off podcast. Yeah. And when Foo Fighters got announced this last week, we started kind of putting puzzle pieces together, right? And I brought that back up, and we're like, what the heck in Judge Dredd because that is a weird, unique layout, right? Like I've never seen it done again. And Trudeau has a way to make some really weird but fun layouts. But Bally Williams it's cost prohibitive now, right? Like the only way that CGC can remake these guys is because they've already been made. They're just essentially tweaking them and putting them back on the line. But I don't know. We were just all so confused. So it was refreshing to see. Yes, there is weird stuff in here, like the in lane targets and the kickback, which I don't think it's ever been done on Stern. It's obviously been done on Gottlieb, but it was refreshing too to see that the shots felt unique but still familiar, if that makes sense. And so I'm very happy with this. I think regardless, like Tom was saying, I think it doesn't matter if you go with a Premier or Pro, you're going to be happy either way you go. And it just really matter of preference at this point. And they talked about they're going to have this at Texas. So maybe go down there and flip both of them and see what you prefer the most. I don't know. I know the people that are looking at it on the fence money wise are even having a hard time. Like I have a friend that he's pro all the way, but he saw this premium and he's like,
it looks pretty good. Yeah,
it looks pretty good. And his wife's like, well, we need it because of the post, because she's not good at pinball. So she's like, I want the post in there for that. And he's like, really, this post is going to cost me what, $2,500 or whatever.
Okay, I will also point out that there is a marked difference between the alien dude, and the stand-up target. Like the stand-up alien, like the
flat plastic,
the 2-dimensional plastic mold, and the other one looks great. Now I'm going to throw this out there and see exactly what you guys think. If Deeproot actually happened and released Raza, don't you think this would be what people wanted?
Yeah.
It looks like it could have been Raza, but done right.
No, like, that's 1,000% right. This is this is something, and this. I guess we could say this is kind of the power of Stern, also, right? Because this is coming right after Bond, where we all know obviously what happened with that. People have their opinions on it and everything, with the code, with the design, with everything. But then it's like, okay, Stern, they're just such a powerhouse. They can put out another pin just in a couple of months that looks completely different theme, completely different artwork, completely different vibe. It's got the expression lights. And just like Scott pointed out, it's got a design that I could probably nearly guarantee this is what people would halfway expect out of something like Raza. I mean, it is a very unique layout for sure. I think it does reach that level to where it's going to get attention, right? So Foo Fighters theme, even though there was a lot of people that were upset about it on, online on the interwebs, that they were like, oh, dad rock again, this and that. But the reality is rock themes do very well, and they've moved it to the 90s too. So it's like, it's a relevant band. They've got obviously a ton of assets. The animations, guys, freaking fantastic. My God,
has to be the best animations out of any Stern.
Out of anything. I would put it, I played Raza, like one of the first ones down at Houston, and this is back in 2019. Remember, they were talking about the animations there and everything. And this, what I saw out of this is quite possibly the best animations I've seen on a modern pinball machine. I was floored by what they did. So whoever was on that, I forget what the name was. They said it on stream, but bravo to them. Like, that's a fantastic job. So it's almost like this pin, it's kind of like the perfect storm of everything coming together, whether it's a unique design, whether it's fantastic art, the fantastic music that's with it, and the fantastic animations that's with it. I mean, you bring all those together, you're going to have something that is going to be special for a long time, which is great for pinball, but even better for Stern. The fact that they can do something like this outside of Elwyn, like that's pretty big deal.
I agree.
Think about the last two designers and their freshman effort. I would say impressive. It doesn't capture it. Iron Maiden, and yes, people played Archer before, and so at least they're familiar with it. But an amazing game, and I would put this up there for like one of the best debuts of any designer.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I want to point out too, Travis, you talked about, is there was a slight audible groan even though it's Facebook and Pinside and whatnot, when it was dad rock again, right? But here's the thing that people need to realize too. Regardless if you don't like dad rock or not, it's here to stay. I mean, Zombie Yeti's connection to Foo Fighters is why this was so unique. And if you listen to the Insider podcast, he had no restraints. They seriously just kept coming up with weird things, and they'd throw it to the Foo Fighters, and they were like, heck yeah, go for it. And so, I mean, parallel that next to Bond, which we haven't had official confirmation from Stern, but you can tell it's a licensor issue with that, right? They're going to go look at the product they've made with Foo Fighters and Rush. That's the sandwich, right? Rush, Bond, Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Rush and Foo Fighters are arguably the best integrated themes into a pinball machine. And so, regardless if you don't like dad rock or not, it's here to stay. They sell. They're easy to work with because you only have a handful of people over you versus all these assets. You know what I'm saying?
Like
a band owns all their music.
Yeah.
And so I would take a Foo Fighters 100 times over than I dare I say Harry Potter. It makes me nervous that we've been hearing Harry Potter kicked around lately. It's going to be insane.
You know what the weirdest thing about seeing Foo Fighters and getting to see it played? It almost makes it look like James Bond and Foo Fighters were made by two completely different companies. Like they are so far different from each other. And obviously, like Bond, it's hard to blame designers, software people, or anything. If you have constraints, that is so difficult from a creative standpoint to fight through that. Like it's so difficult. And everybody out there knows that does anything that's any type of creativity. So, I mean, seeing this, I don't feel like Foo Fighters, anybody on that had the issues. And if they did have any issues, like kudos to them for just bulldozing through it, because it doesn't look like that was happening with this pin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is what pinball should be. I mean, we see it with Godzilla 2. I felt like there was very little restraint there. Keith, the handcuffs were not on as hard versus other themes he's done in the past. I mean, look at Avengers. Avengers is still a great game, but like he mentioned it before, like the only asset he had for like Hulk was his eye.
His eye, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like, what do I do with his eye? You know? And I don't know. I'm excited for this game. Wrapping it back to Foo Fighters, I'm in on one regardless, because when I first heard Foo Fighters, this is the first time I'm like, hey, I grew up with this music. This is a band I remember watching play. I've seen them in concert. This is a band I very much relate to, but it's not the top of my list, right? Like everyone knows. It's funny. I was playing the songs for my son, right? And the first one comes on My Hero. And he's like, I've heard this in a meme. I hear it in memes all the times. And then I played like All My Life. And he's like, oh, I've heard this one too. And then I played like Times Like These or May Was Everlong. And he's like, oh, I've heard this one too. Everyone's heard Foo Fighters. I guarantee you've been sitting in a Walmart and it came on. And all the songs are relatable. So it's not like I don't hate any of it. I love rock and roll and the punk vibe that they bring. So it wasn't a hard transition for me to be like, yeah, I'll go with Foo Fighters.
Well, I think too, right? The Foo Fighters, I remember them being in Guitar Hero. Like they had several songs that were in there. So it's like even my kids, they're 12 and 13. When I told them there was going to be a Foo Fighters pinball machine, they knew what that meant. And that shocked me because I never talk about it with them, but then come to find out, oh, they realized it came from this video or is part of this game. And they knew a bunch of the songs. And I'm just like, where the heck is this coming from? I didn't even realize you guys are fans. But yeah, it's just, I think a lot more people are aware of this theme than what the older demographic of pinball realizes. I mean, I think it fits very well to like that 25 to 45 range, somewhere right in there, or 25, 44. I think there's a lot of people there that realize that. I mean, even me, I'm 38, and I still remember listening to Foo Fighters back in middle school, then all through high school, then early college. So it's ticking all those boxes for me. And this is actually the first time, really, for me personally. I know a lot of people probably felt this with Guns N' Roses, and I obviously, Tom and Scott felt this with Rush, but this is the first time that I've actually seen a pin done by a pinball company that I know the music. And I can remember certain memories of the past when that music was playing or something I was associated with or whatever. And so, yeah, that right there is going to tick a lot of boxes for a lot of people that are in that sweet spot that are ready to buy pinball machines. And we are going to see that avalanche happen. It's going to happen.
And I think I agree with you that this is going to be a consistent theme over ages, and it almost could be an evergreen title just because of how much longevity is there with Foo Fighters.
Okay, I would also argue that for someone who has never been a buyer before, like this could be the gateway pin.
Yep.
Yeah.
This could be the pin where they're like, wow, that theme's awesome. And it's well done. The art package is fantastic. The presentation is great. And it's like, wow, okay, so this is totally it feels like someone from the Bally Williams era designed a modern pin with modern rules.
Yeah.
It looks like that. It looks like the fun of the Bally Williams, the campiness, just everything that takes it back. And it's like, this is the second coming of Bally Williams, like this type of approach. I even see a little bit of a Dr. Dude vibe when you look at the playfield. Maybe not the layout, but like the art style.
Yeah. I don't know. What are you thinking, Tom? You're so talkative.
I don't think.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He doesn't think. He buys. He buys.
Just buy them, baby. No, I mean the game is freaking. It looks fantastic. You got 3 ramps, a mini playfield. I mean, what more could you want? Kickers, in lane targets, and just a lot of uniqueness. The animations are freaking cool. I like how they derive the story of, like the aliens and everything. It sounds like, from what I heard from Insider Connect, that it was really a zombie Yeti idea,
Yep.
and it just went from there. But yeah, it's definitely cool. What do you guys think of the additional topper toys that are rumored?
Oh,
so
yeah.
so the topper was confirmed. Well, the topper toys was confirmed, but not the actual toys themselves. So
the existence of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. But it sounded like you could buy the toys and put them on your topper and they would do something.
Yes. Yep. They're meant to interact with the topper itself.
Very interesting.
That's awesome.
See, when I heard that, I immediately thought of the Amiibos from Nintendo.
Yep.
And those were great. Those were created like back in 2014. So I'm just like, okay. So Stern has now gotten their game online. And now
welcome to the 2010s.
Now they're getting into the Amiibo thing. Mm-hmm. So now I'm like, holy crap, what's going to be next? What can Stern do
to the Nintendo Switch version of pinball?
Yeah, we're gonna have a Nintendo machine or a pinball machine where we can just walk around with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just set it down somewhere else.
Yeah. Controllers.
That would be great. Someone get on that. That is a multi-million-dollar idea right there.
Exactly. I'll take 5%. So.
Deeper will do it. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. Don't worry about it.
Oh my goodness.
But so the other thing is too, I mean, so what DNA do you guys see in this machine? I know that I see Spirit because of the in-lane targets, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking Stargate earlier. We were talking about that because of the kick from the target.
I see Simpsons Pinball Party.
Yeah, up top, right? It's accessible. We see, I guess, Deadpool maybe on the left with that left ramp.
They really pushed Deadpool in the Insider podcast. They said that, well, I mean, you've got Tanya Klein Zombie Yeti, so you've got the art and the rules. I mean, and Jack Danger has professed his love for Deadpool ever since he revealed it, 3 years ago, or how long has it been now? It's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
But yeah, that little schnick shot seems like it's turned into a jump wrap shot on this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's Jurassic Park with that center spinner.
Yep, that's what I was thinking too.
In the right lane.
Yeah, the right side really reminded me of Jurassic Park as soon as I first saw it, with the ramp, the right orbit, where the center spinner is, and then the loop and the ramp, just kind of in those areas. It just kind of reminded me of it. I'm not going to say it was a direct pull or anything like that. Just felt like it had Jurassic Park DNA to it as well. So you see a lot of great elements of different types of games all put in here.
Thank you, Mr. DNA.
Well, well, and sometimes that's not good because we were talking about that before the podcast. That I think a lot of times people tend to go over the top, thinking, okay, a machine needs to have everything in it, and I don't think a machine being jam packed necessarily means it's good. Like it still has to work.
Yeah.
Whereas when I saw this, it did look like there was a lot put in there, especially for the pro version. And then you see it all come together. It's like chef's kiss. Like it actually worked the way you wanted it to work. So, yeah, kudos to the whole team at Stern for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
No, I agree. And I think we talked about this, right? We want DNA from other games, but we don't want a perfect match, right?
Well, you don't want a knockoff. So you don't want I've always said that the end of Def Leppard was Hysteria, because when Adrenalize came out, it was like, these are like the B songs that didn't make it to Hysteria.
Right.
Like you could tell that the magic was gone. And you don't want to feel like you're just re-releasing different versions of a successful layout, because eventually it gets stale.
Well, and I love John Borg. Like I really appreciate what he's done for the hobby and whatnot, but I think he gets the slack of this most, right? Him and Richie, because when his designs come out, they always harken back to one of his previous designs. Rush, everyone was talking X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
When Guardians of the Galaxy came out, everyone was talking Metallica. And so it's good to see DNA from different games, especially from a first-time designer, because you're going to want some familiarity there. I think that's what scared us the most, right? We kept hearing weird. That word scared us.
Well, okay, we were all thinking WWE, and we all know how successful that was. That was certainly a weird game, and having like an increased gap in the flippers. Just because it's weird doesn't mean it's good. It just could be bizarre.
Yeah,
but this was fun, weird. Like this was like campy fun. It's like, oh, that's different, but I want to play it.
Yeah.
I will say with the in lanes, I am curious to see if there's a little bit of, with most in lanes, it's a linear curve so if it flows down the in lane, it tends to just rip past the flipper. But this, because of that little Schatz target that he put in there, I wonder if that will like kind of bounce and maybe even slow up like a quick in-lane shot. What do you guys think?
I saw a couple of people tonight that they actually had their flipper up and they were able to stop the ball. Like I could have swore I saw that. I mean, I was coming in and out, too. But yeah, I mean, and I think it's going to do that. I think it's going to,
which isn't bad. It's not bad.
No, it's not a bad thing. I think the timing for some people, it's going to throw people off the first time they play it. And I think a lot of it, just like we mentioned earlier, it's going to just depend on game setup as well. I mean, it could depend on the pitch of the game. It could depend on if it's leaning left or right. That may very well affect how that ball's coming down to a flipper. I mean, because I'm expecting some versions of this game out in the wild to rattle like crazy. I'm expecting it. And at the same time, it looks like there's the possibility for it to just go down like butter as well. So I think it's just going to be your mileage may vary situation here.
Wasn't it funny too? We were watching it tonight, and Ray Day, we were like, he kind of is playing it like it's casual to him, right? Like he was having a rough time getting going on the first game or two, and so I'm like, what does that mean for the rest of us?
He had to warm up, but no,
I actually did message. I did message Ray, and I said, "This game looks like a blast," and he was just like, "Yeah." His official word was "heck yeah," but it's I mean, if someone who at that level is excited about playing the game, that bodes really well.
Yeah,
that guy conned me into getting an LE.
Is that why you got an LE?
Because of Raymond.
Yeah, I'm really glad you got the LE.
No, it was so funny. So, did you guys listen to the pinball show on Monday? I think it was. No, Tuesday.
Most of it, yeah.
And Dennis was going off. He's like, "Well, he was like, Raymond's not on this one, and finally he's not on a band pin." And then they announced Raymond's on Foo Fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
Yeah, I mean, he's not lead designer, but you guarantee that Raymond's knowledge rule set it will definitely shape the goals and the code.
Before we go any further, Tom, did you need to duck out, or did you?
Yeah, I kind of had a late night last night and not a lot of sleep, so I'm gonna actually head out. But thanks for having me on the podcast. Love your guys' podcast.
Well, thank you.
Okay, before you head out, we need Tom Talks.
Oh boy,
Tom Talks, Tom Talks,
Oh, my
Tom Talks. Okay, Tom.
All right, Tom, you got 5 seconds. What's your talk?
Foo Fighters is pretty awesome.
And that's Tom Talks, everybody. There you go. See, such excitement.
I'm out of here.
Mic drop.
Hey, Tom, we know it's late for you. We actually do appreciate you staying up a little bit. We didn't think we were going to get you because some of us have jobs in the morning.
Yeah,
you can't just sleep in and binge pinball all day.
I wish.
So, woo woo. Yeah.
I gotta make some money so I can pay for my LE, I guess.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. All right. Well, now that we kicked Tom off the podcast, let's talk about him.
Yeah, no, I would like to say I'm leaving Triple Drain now, and I'm so happy to be the third member of Loser Kid. Finally, we got rid of all the dead weight. Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anytime. We're glad to have you on the team. I think Scott has a hat for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, we give all our new members hats.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, this is exactly why I got 00 at Indisc and everything. Like, I want to do just so crappy everywhere else, and then just go to the winning team. I mean, that's the way to live life, right?
Yep.
Okay, speaking of merch, is this where you want to bring this up, Josh?
We can. Or do we want to keep talking the Foo, or are we done with Foo?
You know, I'm excited for Foo. It looks like a blast to play, and I do not think the reveal stream could have done anything better for a game.
Yeah.
That was an awesome reveal stream, because most of the time it's like a couple of drunk guys playing pinball and it's a clunk fest. But man, they were just ripping it. It looked like a blast.
Yes, I agree. And like we said, I think regardless of what model you go with, you're going to be happy.
Yeah.
If and or but. But we have an exciting announcement, right, Scott?
Yeah. Why don't you take it away, Josh? You actually did all the legwork on it.
So you remember Brad Albright we had on? It's been years.
And he did the before the official Led Zeppelin game, he did the art for the re-theme that was done by, I think, Dave Peck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Down in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And so we had him on, and great guy, and obviously his career has taken off. I'm not going to say because of us, but he's obviously got a little bit of work in pinball. Anywho, I'm like, Brad, we want to do some stuff. And long story short, we have some shirts coming out that are actually not designed by me or Scott. And we have some shoes, and it's all come out via Silverball Swag. By the time this is up and running, the link should be live.
Mm-hmm. Is it the shoes? Is it the shoes? You remember that commercial? The original Michael Jordan Air Jordan commercials?
I don't.
Oh, it was Spike Lee. Oh my gosh.
What year was
you
that?
guys?
Was there magic fingers in that commercial too?
I do not remember that at all. I remember Michael Jordan.
Go look it up. It's Spike Lee selling the Air Jordan, and the reason why that was a big deal is because they came out with the Air Jordans, and the NBA didn't let them use it because they weren't compliant. Because it was like, yeah.
But we did tease. Actually, Brad teased the GOAT, Keith Owen, with our Loser Kid hat on. That will be our shirt design, and then we have an all over pattern. Go ahead to go to silverballswag.com/loserkidpinballpodcast. Get it there. These shoes are they're pretty awesome. I'm very happy with the way
we're actually buying our own shoes because we're like, these are awesome. I think I'm going to go with the red because I want the impact.
Yes. Obviously, Travis is going to buy several pair now that he's an official member.
Exactly.
I've already got a pallet of them. You guys are so much more professional than those other two knuckleheads. Thank you. I'm so happy right now.
Well, if you want to hold off from buying from Silverball Swag, you can actually see, if I remember correctly, they're going to have at least the shirts in person at Texas Pinball Festival.
Okay. Well,
so yeah, I talked to Will. He said we could definitely get the shirts there. I don't know about the shoes because of the lead time there. I think it's like 6
Okay,
weeks.
I will say those shoes look awesome.
Yes.
Like, and there's about 6 or 7 colors you can choose from, and you can choose lace up or you can choose the Van style. I mean, they look fantastic.
So has there ever been anybody in pinball to release their own shoes before, like publicly?
Don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe did Soft Plunge do shoes or something like that?
What are you guys going to call this officially? Is this going to be like the I don't know, hard
The
plunge
loser kid
or
the Air Losers,
the plunge and swat line? Like what are we going to call this?
Well, we already have the tagline losing at life, winning at pinball.
Yeah. And you will be winning at pinball with these shoes. Trust me.
Absolutely. Okay, seriously, it will look like I just walked out of a loser kid convention because all of the shoes. I have my my custom bowling shirt that has the losing at life, winning at pinball. I got the old school red and black hat and white. So
what's funny to me is like, everyone was wearing our hat because they got the magic from Keith Elwin when they started winning the tournaments.
Exactly.
Now you can actually have Keith Elwin on you. So you can have that magic through you for your tournament. So
okay, that is like a new level where you are wearing the goat while wearing the hat.
Yeah, it's like Inception.
Exactly.
All right, I know Travis. This is why he came on to tie. He's like, yeah, let's come on.
Let's talk about this. Hey, let's talk about that slanket you like wearing. Where is it?
Your slanket?
What? Oh, the comfy?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It should have been called a slanket. I don't know where it is. I think one of the kids took it from me. But yeah, no, so funny enough, I didn't think anything of that at all when I had it on. And then all of a sudden, of course, Joel and Tom, they just went
hog wild. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it took like a life of its own. And I swear I should be under contract for Comfy at this point. I get pictures from people that have bought it.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably sold at least 30 of those already. It's so ridiculous. I should have an affiliate link.
You should at least get your free Comfy.
Right? Exactly.
But no, Comfy,
it's comfortable.
Code for your code and get
exactly. Exactly. Enter Travis Murray. Yeah.
It's comfortable, but yeah, no, it's taken such a life of its own. We're actually offering it as a prize for Carl's Pin Clash thing too.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys have seen that. Like we're offering a prize for, I think we're putting up $100 plus a Comfy, I think is what it is. And it's called You Are Average. So we're giving it to the person
who's dead average.
Yeah, that finishes right in the middle. And at first we wanted to call it something making fun of Joel, but then we realized he's not good enough to finish like in the middle of the pack. So we couldn't do that.
Okay, now I will say in Joel's defense, Joel is still probably a better player than I am.
No, there's no way. So it was funny. I won't name the name, but I guarantee they're listening to this. And Joel knows who I'm talking about because it's so funny. But they were just like, because Joel was saying, I can't play in tournaments. I can't do this, can't do that. And they were just like, why not? There's even a Joel division in it. They were talking about the novice division.
The Joel division. Yeah.
You know what? I actually want to trigger Travis right now. Are you ready for this, Travis?
Sure, why not?
So American Pinball put out a trailer for game 5.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about this.
Yeah, let's talk about that awesome teaser. We need to talk about that.
Ooh.
Well,
copyright Galactic Tank Force. We can't say Galactic Tank Force in the name. But
GTF.
I was so confused by that because I'm so all in for seeing this machine too. I'm so excited to see it at TPF. And then when the teaser came out, I think we all, like in all of our messages and everything, everybody was just like
confused.
Yeah, we just sent like the memes to each other. There's just like awkward eyes looking at each other, like what just happened here? I don't know. Josh, what do you think? What's going through your head on it?
I do have to admit, so I'm sitting there with Carter. He's my 12-year-old, and we're watching this. And it's like introducing whatever, I can't remember the names, Millie, whoever. And Carter looks at me, he's like, who are these people? And I haven't a clue. And I'm like, I think like when then it showed the characters pop up of the shadows of them, right? I'm like, oh, it just must be that there was 4 names and there's 4 characters, so it just must be the names of the characters, because that last name doesn't sound real to me. The Moorfoot, the Clementine Mournfoot, and if that's your real name, awesome.
Sounds like a D&D character.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, this must be the name of these characters. This is not how you promote a product at all. I mean, this left more questions than answers, and it did not hype me at all. We joked about Chat GPT would do a better job, and then Travis proved us right by making some, and they didn't even have to have pinball in the actual ad, and it was like all of these were a million times better. I just don't get it. Like, there's been a lot of hype, and I blame this on Joel because he's not here. But
DTF.
Well, okay. Do you feel that it almost feels like they rushed something out because they have to. I don't know what the constraints are. Why they're planning on releasing it, but on top of all the other things that have been rumored forever, and then you have. You have Foo Fighters that was teased, and then they teased this, and we'll talk about the other teaser coming up too. But it almost felt like we need to present our product, because if everybody just sees what Stern is putting out, it's going to suck all the money out of the market, and we need to at least have a small slice of the pie. And so let's just get something out so people know that we have something too. That's what it felt like. It felt like, American Pinball actually makes some solid games. Like they're reliable, and which, by the way, that's number 1 in my book. I need reliability in a pin. I need it to be on location without a lot of issues. If I buy it at home, I do not want to be like an amateur repairman. Okay, so they make solid games, but it's just confusing when they didn't release anything other than Legends of Valhalla last year. And then they come out with this, which is taking the camp to we thought that, well, if you think Foo Fighters is taking it to kind of this comical Attack from Mars battling, monsters from space or whatever. This is just straight out of the B science fiction movies from the 1960s.
Well, not only that, they start the trailer with their logo, which is fine, whatever. This is a 54-second trailer, and half
is the logo.
Yeah. I've watched this teaser no less than 12 times, probably, because I just kept looking at it and I just kept getting more and more confused. And it just, so the problem is the attention span of people, it's so short that you have a window of about 2 or 3 seconds, right? Because we live in the horizontal video era, right? Or the vertical video era with TikTok, with Reels, with all that. Yeah. So when you're trying to get somebody's attention, you have to get it instantly. And the way that you do that is not through showing a logo for 20 plus seconds coming out. So if they were doing a video just to reveal their logo, because the logo actually looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
The problem was it was almost like, okay, how long is this going to take to get through this? And then when you follow that up with an announcement of Game 5, it's like, okay, you're assuming people first know who you are, and then you're assuming that they realize you've had that many games to begin with, right? So just that whole cadence was just odd to me. It just felt like that they should have just kind of left the logo until the very end of it, because if they would have came in like at the beginning, just showing like maybe some of the artwork just not really lit up, just kind of like super dark, to where you can kind of get a hint of something, and they kind of just give like mini vibes like that. And then they don't have to show the pin. Then you just show the name of the pin, like in all of its glory, or the back glass or whatever. You do something like that, and then you cut to the logo afterwards, because then it would matter to establish, okay, this is American Pinball. Because the problem is, it's just like a lot of people didn't realize what they were looking at. And then the craziest part is like Josh alluded to earlier, they started naming off the names. Well, as a viewer, we have no idea who these people are. I had no idea what it was. And then the thing that just confused me the most, we get to the very end and it still doesn't say the name of the game. But then if you look in the lower right hand side or towards the bottom, the last 5 or 6 seconds, you can see the actual name, Galactic Tank Force. So they still say the name on the teaser, but they say it at the very bottom, which is like the trademark text or whatever it was at the bottom. So I'm still not quite sure what to make of it, heads or tails. Honestly, I still don't know. I guess the names there are people associated with working on the pin. After Googling a couple of the first names, that they seem to be actors or actresses. I think somebody played Sonya Blade or something like that in the past for Mortal Kombat. So, I mean, it just, my fear for that is that teaser did not get people very excited for what it is. And it didn't really give an indication of what the pen is, right? It felt like unintentional misdirect completely the wrong direction, which is what you don't want to do when you're trying to get hype up for your pen. Because look at, like, we have to compare this because everybody's on the equal playing field. Everybody's trying to bring it at TPF. We have to compare it to what Stern did with Foo Fighters. They were very strategic in releasing multiple teasers. And what's the number one thing they did at the very beginning before they even showed gameplay? They teased the animations.
Yep.
Like, and that got everybody hyped. We play a physical game of pinball, but yet the animations, that's what got everybody hyped. And so it's just kind of like whoever was making the decisions at Stern, they understood that. Whereas with Galactic Tank Force and American Pinball, it was just like that didn't happen. And it just, I don't know. It just felt weird just with the logo taking 20 seconds and big bold letters saying, I guess, a humongous amount of assets.
Yeah, featuring literally a humongous amount of assets. What's that even supposed to mean? It sounds like...
I don't know because I thought it was, I thought it was an original theme. So I would assume they have all the assets to it. I don't know.
Apparently they couldn't trademark a butt ton.
And here's the other thing too. If you're going to present these people, because we Googled this after the fact, right? I went through and I itemized all the people that they said they were featuring. Like you said, the very first one, she was in Mortal Kombat 3 was her highlight as Sonya Blade. The next person was, he did animation, but the last animation he really did was for NBA 2K15. That's been almost a decade ago. And then the other two people I couldn't find anything about. And so if you're introducing these people, you should have had some kind of small snippet of them on your website. Yeah. So that way when someone Googles, it takes them to your website. You know what I'm saying? Like this whole thing was just a cluster and it made no sense. Like I've never looked at a pinball machine and I'm like, no, that's not fun for my family at all. Why did you start with like presenting game 5 fun for the whole family? How can you think a pinball machine like maybe like Guns N' Roses not on adult mode? I want around my kids, or Rick and Morty, but
it almost felt like that in this teaser trailer. If you really watch it, it almost feels like there's a bunch of placeholders in it, and somebody forgot to take the placeholders out.
Yeah,
just seeing game 5 and seeing random names that you have no attachment to, you have no association with. Just seeing the logo last as long as it did, and then seeing literally no name of the pinball machine anywhere except for the very bottom in little tiny text. Because if you're on mobile, I had a few friends look at it on mobile too, so they could tell me, what do you think of this? And they had no idea what they were seeing. These were non-pinball people, and they literally had no idea what it meant. Because to them, even though they see American Pinball, they still don't associate it with that
as a manufacturer,
right? They don't know, so they're just like, "Is this a cartoon coming out?" That was what a lot of people were asking me, and this is non-pinball people. So that's the thing. It's like, how are you going to market this? Are you going to market it towards just people that just know pinball, that know that you're coming out with this, or do you want to try to hit another audience? So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just very confused by it, and that's the last thing you want out of your marketing. You don't want it to create more confusion.
It seemed like they were trying to go for like building the suspense. So any Marvel movie, they have that panoramic shot where the Marvel letters are passing by, and then it ends up right side up and you see Marvel and everyone cheers, and then you keep going. That's also for a 2.5 hour movie. So you can have like a 20-second screenshot of the Marvel brand, but on a 50-second trailer, it's confusing.
Well, what's interesting, so let's juxtapose this with Multimorphic, because they did a very similar trailer. But the interesting part is I feel like they got away with it because we all know who Scott Denisi is, and we're excited. And what I loved about their trailer is it said Scott Denisi, and then it gave his credits, right? Total Nuclear Annihilation, Rick and Morty, Bo and Karen's. We all know who Bo and Karen's is. Or a good chunk of us, right? Maybe if you're first getting into the hobby, you might not. But the thing is he has like a built-in.
In pinball, these are known names.
Yes, in pinball, they're known names. And then it still gave, like, even people I didn't know that's on the team for Project Carbon's what they're calling it. They still gave their credit. So I then felt like they were official. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Where with Americans, we hadn't a clue who these people are. I've never heard of these people. I've been in pinball 10 years now, almost 10 years. And I'm like, I've never heard of a single soul. Like, that's why I was so confused. Even at the end when I was like, yeah, they just must be the name of the characters.
P3 is now I will say P3 is it's a niche market. Like, you are the only people who are buying P3s are people who are familiar with pinball.
Yeah.
You may get a few random Weird Al fans who will buy it, but for the most, that's a crazy expensive purchase for one game, except for Nelly Foo Fighters apparently. But that's, you're marketing to a very specific audience. It seemed like American Pinball was hoping to tease to, I don't know, like a bowling alley or a fun skate, like an arcade, like get people back into the arcade. This is like their fun thing, but it just felt like it was out of time. We don't really know anything more about it. It could be that this is all, once the game comes out and we say, wow, that's fun, then great. It could be awesome, but it's just confusing the only step that we have.
Well, and Travis, I think I've seen marketing through your eyes, because we've talked a lot about marketing over the last year at least. And what I think the problem is a lot of these pinball companies are selling towards the niche part of pinball, right? I think the problem is we don't realize there's such a bigger pond out there. And look at Foo Fighters. It went with theme. The first thing they present is Foo Fighters. They never once in the trailer said Jack Danger's designing this. With they did talk about Zombie Yeti art, but
Zombie Yeti is also a known quantity. And I will say Jack's a known quantity in pinball too, but not as a manufacturer.
But they're selling that product to Foo Fighters fans on top of pinball, right? With this Multimorphic, with American Pinball, it all feels like it's being strictly to the niche part, which, I'm not gonna lie, there's what, maybe 10,000 people that consume pinball media that's really, really into, like, they have to be on Pinside every day. And there is a lot more than 10,000 people in this hobby.
Yeah, it's huge. And so, well, a lot of it is too, it really depends on what your theme is too. So obviously American Pinball is going with a original theme, right? So nobody's really going to respond to it unless you really push what that theme is. So lean into the campiness. That's what you need to lean into. So then your marketing needs to reflect that you're going all in on something like that. Whether it's showing like just any type of animation that you have already, or you're just showing something funny on the play field with art or something like that. Whereas if you do have a licensed theme, I think that the smart thing to do early on is to push what that theme is. I think if you push theme before design, before anything else, that's really key, because then that's what gets people talking regardless. And then we really start to break it down afterwards. Everything gets filtered down into, okay, who's on design? Oh, what do we think the artwork's going to look like? Oh, okay, so it looks cool. How's it going to shoot? Oh, what's the code? That all starts filtering way down. But the reality is that your primary base market, like the biggest part of it, it's just theme. They don't care what the design looks like. They don't care. They don't understand what the code is. Guys, I've talked to people that have played Rush for a year. They had no idea a diverter was on there. I talked to somebody else that literally has a Ninja Turtles for 2 years, and they did not realize the glider diverted. They had no idea. So, and this is the thing, this goes to show you that even people that you wouldn't necessarily consider casuals, some of this stuff still gets by them. And, not all of us can just do everything perfect, but that's just an example that there's a lot of times that people will just buy, right, strictly on theme. And yeah, it's just, I think what people got to realize, because pinball itself is very niche, but what's not niche is people that have game rooms at their house.
Yep.
And themes. That's not niche. People want entertainment at their house. So I preach this all the time. And I know you guys hear this. I know I sound like a broken record. If somebody new comes into pinball, all the themes, brand new to them. Yep. Everything is brand new to them. And that's the key of it. That's what creates this longevity. And that's what makes Stern so freaking strong compared to everybody else, because they have the ability to put multiple games on the line, and multiple games are in production, like over a dozen different themes. Look at just this past year, right? We've had Rush, we've had Foo Fighters, Elvira. I think Iron Maiden's coming back out again. We've had gosh, guys, what else is there? Mandalorian. I mean, it just keeps going higher and higher. Yeah. All these games are still in production. So, you push theme more than anything. And so I think and of course, and you make sure you have cameras that work as well.
El gato no signal.
But I think more than anything, if I had a company that had a machine, right, that was just, it was a new theme, nobody knew what the theme was, my whole thing would be leaning into what it is. If it's going to be campy, we're going to lean into campy. Right. We're not going to worry about who's designing it. We are going to worry about who's on art, because if the art looks great, let's push that.
Yep.
Let's push all that. Let's push the art. Let's push the animation. Let's push the vibe that we are going for. And that's what would get people talking.
What they need to push it like Flash Gordon. I mean, if you're old enough to ever have watched the Flash Gordon, that is campy as all get out.
When was that on TV?
It was like the 70s.
Josh, were you old enough?
Yeah. I was not even born.
Okay,
me neither. He's making all these references. They're so far.
Okay, but guess what? I'm the wheelhouse in the game, suckers. They're making for my generation. How does that feel?
I feel great. I feel at home. Yeah. I truly am Loser Kid 3 now. I'm so proud of this.
I feel bad for like Tom and Scott, because me, you, and Joel have just been talking about Foo Fighters, right? And Tom actually has been pretty intrigued with it. I mean, he's a rock fan, you can tell. But I've noticed Scott has not been interjecting so much in our conversation in chat.
That's because you guys have texted like a billion messages, and I have a JOB. I can't just drop everything, and it's like, oh, guess what? I'm gonna go and talk about pinball for a while. Hey, excuse me while you're asleep under anesthesia. Let me go and blog about this.
Priorities.
Yeah.
My family was all sick, so I had to stay home. So
yeah.
1980, by the way, is when Flash Gordon came out. 1980.
Okay. Yeah, and Flash Gordon, the whole premise is, this is how we know it's pure fantasy, is he's a hero because he is quarterback to the New York Jets.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
And he was in Ted.
Oh,
yes, he was.
Yeah, I totally. That's how I know about him right there.
Yeah. Anyway, it's just totally random. Yeah.
I think eventually, hopefully, with all these releases coming out, though, I think people will finally figure it out. Yeah. Eventually, like what gets attention, what doesn't get attention, and I think Spooky actually, out of anybody, has done very well in getting attention to their stuff, and I think if anybody's really going to kind of look at a smaller manufacturer and say, okay, how do we figure this out in terms of at least getting our brand known and at least moving units? I mean, we could talk about the quality of those units all day long, but at least moving the units and getting a sell through, I think they're a good example to go by.
How does Spooky sell? Two things: theme, art.
Yep.
I mean, Halloween sold 1,250 games just when they showed the art package, and people were like, that looks awesome.
Yep.
And so they sold out instantly. So they're really leaning into that. I mean, they have Scooby-Doo, they got Rick and Morty. I mean, TNA was known; it was a passion project because people know in the community know it. But yes, that is what is keeping the lights on at Spooky: theme and art. I'm hoping that now. I think American Pinball still makes a solid game when they make them.
No, they do, no doubt. I had a Hot Wheels for a little while, and that thing was, I mean, pun intended, that thing was built like a tank. So I look forward to seeing the next game and see if it actually looks like a tank. That's what I want to know. So
it's so weird to me because American came out with what was it last year? They're like, we're building all of our cabinets the same because they're all different. Like Houdini has the little waves in the head and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's really weird to be like, we're making everything the same across the board, except for our new game's going to look like a tank.
Right.
But it does make sense. No one's brought this up, and I want to bring this up. I haven't heard this from any other media source. You know, they do talk about this being built like a tank and it being unique. Dennis Norman's done that before. He did it with Wonelli. It was put up on a crate. Yeah, it wasn't legs. It was on a crate with beer cans that you adjusted. Why it doesn't shock me we're doing something like a tank. You know what I'm saying? Well, because it's Dennis Norman.
Yeah. However, if it only looks like a tank when the back box is folded down, doesn't it look like your tank is under repair when the back box is folded up and you're like looking under the hood of the tank?
Okay, how amazing would it be?
Don't destroy the lore for us.
How amazing would it be? We're talking about portable pinball, right? You can step onto it like a tank and drive it around.
Dude, that would be awesome.
Yes, and then you can take it wherever you want to go. It'd be the most accessible pinball machine ever.
Absolutely.
You know, it comes with a battery pack, so you could drive it down to the pizza parlor, make a couple bucks, and drive it home. Right?
We're just all in the parking lot at TPF with a bunch of like tanks just going around.
No, this is a pinball machine on a Segway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I have in mind.
Yep.
There's just like a dozen of us all out.
We're talking Job from or is it Job from Arrested Development? How he rode around on the Segway?
Yeah.
Hey, Arrested Development's not that old of a show. Okay, you should at least know what that is.
I have heard of the name. I've never seen one episode.
Oh my gosh,
I've watched a couple. They're good.
Yeah. It's actually pretty funny.
You've watched 2 or 3?
I think 3. Somewhere in there.
So that third one, you're just like, nah, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, but 3's enough.
I don't know about you, but I watch shows with my wife, and it has to become kind of a collaborative effort. So if we're both not into the show, it kind of falls by the wayside, right?
Hey, that works for me too. All British like period pieces from like the 1950s to 60s. Apparently, we're both into. I've never actually said that, but apparently, we're both into.
Really? So you figured out how to watch shows with the wife then? That's excellent. I've actually been banned from watching certain shows with my wife. So, like, first time apparently I literally got us kicked out, or I say I got us kicked out. I got kicked out of the theater when I went to go watch a Twilight movie with her. Because apparently, like, yeah, I was trying to be a good husband, guys. You guys laugh. I was being an excellent husband, right?
Okay, but you showed
before
up
you got kicked out?
And then Joel showed up with his glitter makeup and
yeah, so I was trying to keep it together. But guys, the damn thing, and sorry, spoilers for anybody that really wanted to see this, they just kept glittering and I just couldn't take it anymore. And I just started laughing. I just could not control it. All these women were looking at me. My wife is like hitting me at the side. She's like, you have to go. You are ruining this for me. You're ruining this for other people. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to.
Please say you went home and like glitter bombed yourself and it's like
No. I went to the concession stand, got me a refill of popcorn, and I just,
wait,
kind of
did you
chilled
just
out.
go into another movie? Because that's what I would have done.
I nearly did. I was really close. I was just glad not everybody was booing me as I was walking out of the theater because I didn't mean to be disruptive. I'm not the type that talks or takes calls, but I couldn't handle it.
There's got to be some Marvel movie showing sometime.
Right, exactly. It'd be fine. So that was the first thing I've been banned from. The second thing I've been banned from is I'm not allowed to watch any horror movies with her if I've had more than 2 beers. Like I'm not allowed, right?
Why is that?
Because apparently it's like I'm
you call it out.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like I'm Gizmo after like eating, food after midnight. I just turn into like just this like ultimate
feral creature.
Yeah, well, I'm like a clairvoyant when it comes to like horror movies, and I have a couple of beers. And at the same time, I cannot control my laughter either. Everything is funny to me. So apparently I ruined what was supposed to be a very scary movie and she was legit like mad about it. And I was having the greatest time though. The first 60 minutes of that movie was lit, but apparently for her it was not.
Do you remember what movie that was?
No, I have no idea, but I know it was fun.
It was that good.
Yeah.
I think it was the Conjuring. It was one of those movies.
Oh, okay.
Because it had the doll thing that was running around for like one scene or something, or it was behind glass, and I'm not really into horror, so I can't really. Yeah, you just got to have a couple of beers, and then it's excellent. It's fine.
I'll just throw back some Mountain Dews and call it good.
Has that movie Megan been pushed on you as well? Like I get on Instagram and the next thing I know, it's like, watch Megan. I don't know if that's.
So I got to watch that. My wife let me watch that with her because it was advertised as a comedy horror movie or a horror comedy. Sure. So that was my in right there. It was fine.
It was supposed to be funny. You could laugh at it because
and I did, and she laughed too, and we had a great time. That's a happy marriage right there. You make sure that if you're going to watch a horror movie,
did you have a 2-drink minimum before you walked into the show?
Luckily now I just watch everything at home. Before I knew how to game the system. So do you guys have like movie theaters around you to where they have a bar attached to it and they give you like a 16 or 32 ounce drink with it that has like some weird name that's associated with the movie that you're watching?
Heavens no.
That
We're
is
in Utah.
Common in Utah. Yes.
I was like, does that exist in Utah?
Okay, dude, this isn't Louisiana. We don't have drive-through liquor stores. What are you talking about? We have drive-through soda shops.
That is true.
Ain't nobody gonna be smuggling in 64 ounces of liquor into a movie.
Yeah, mixology outside of Utah is you mix your alcohol here. In Utah, it's seriously a giant soda shack where they mix all these flavors.
Which flavor do you want in your Diet Coke?
Do you want to taste like a s'mores or a chocolate cheesecake?
Do you want dirty, which is coconut? That tells you how wild BYU, or not BYU, but how wild Utah is.
You guys are lit.
You want a dirty drink? Oh, it's got coconut in it.
We're going to take the zero out of it. Exactly. We're going full sugar. It sounds like Tom.
Okay, so you basically just go to the bar that's adjacent to the movie theater, and then
no. The bar was in the theater.
Oh,
right?
Wow.
Okay. No, it was in the theater.
Okay.
So the trick is you would have their 32 ounce. It was called Dark Side. That was the drink. Okay. Right. Okay. So it was based off Star Wars and all that. You would have that drink. They had a 2-drink minimum. Right. Then they would cut you off. Okay. But what they didn't do was once you tabbed out and went to the movie theater, the waiters came back to you there.
Oh.
And it's like a clean slate. You just got a mulligan. Okay, you're good to go.
There is a theater in downtown Salt Lake called Broovies. Mm-hmm. So that and similar. But yeah. Okay.
So there you go. See, now you guys know. That's the trick right there. I'm handing out.
To go watch Megan.
Okay, yeah. I think that's the only way I'd watch Megan if I were slipped a drink.
Well, I don't like horror movies, so I don't know why it keeps getting pushed on me to watch this movie. And I'm like,
you don't watch any horror movies at all?
Not really. So my wife talks through. She doesn't like to get scared during the movie, so she will talk the whole movie.
Yeah, that's the way you watch a horror movie. That's
seriously, perfect. Yeah. That's okay. However, I will say that I have some friends who they said the one thing you have to do is go to a horror movie in the South because it is like audience participation.
100% can confirm.
Oh yes. Yeah. And it's just like, oh wow, that's that would actually make it kind of funny.
No, the most lit crowd I've ever been associated with. I was in college, and we went to go see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And this is like the Jessica Biel version, right?
Yeah.
And I'm saying this is like a dingy theater. I probably shouldn't have been there. I went with like our whole baseball team and our softball team and part of the basketball team. We go to this area, and it's like anything else. You could tell there was a smell of a certain plant in the air.
Yeah.
And so you just knew, you were like, what am I getting myself into? And instantly, like, everybody's standing up cheering. Everybody's yelling, "You're going to die, mother." Like, I mean, it is just wild. And I don't remember even hearing them say one thing because that theater wasn't quiet at all for the whole entire movie. But it's the most entertaining night at the movies that I've ever been a part of. Except for Twilight and getting kicked out of the theater by my own wife. But other than that, it's great.
Oh my goodness.
We're talking about pinball, right?
We are,
right, somewhere around there.
we are getting so off topic. Okay.
Okay, so we've talked Foo Fighters.
About GTF. We talked about Foo Fighters. Okay.
We've talked about Multimorphic.
Yeah, tangentially. I'm sure we'll circle around at some point and
JJP
discuss
at one
these
point in time said "saddle up to our table" or something like that.
Yeah.
They put out a teaser on Facebook with a cover on Facebook. Yes. Yeah. I think that was their teaser.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I love though how everyone's thinking this is Harry Potter because Jersey Jack.
That's a total troll. There's no chance. Like that, you cannot keep that under wraps. Everybody, when Pirates of the Caribbean were coming out, people are like, "Oh, do you think it's this?" And that was just a total cover, and they're like, "Yeah, no, it's totally Pirates." And there's zero chance that this is anything other than The Godfather. And everybody's hoping it's not The Godfather 3.
Especially with that teaser. That teaser confirmed it's Godfather.
Yes.
So there was actually, I don't know if you guys have read the comments. There were people that, at least I've seen this on Reddit and I've seen this on a couple other message boards. There were people that were legitimately pissed about Jack touting Harry Potter, just kind of like teasing it. And then they do this. They were just like, I don't trust it. I can't, why would they do this? Yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, man, it's just, I mean, but it got people wondering all of a sudden, but it's like a misdirect, you know?
Okay. We know that I guarantee it's all about money, right? The answer to all your questions is money. And so at some point it will make sense for the Harry Potter license to want to do something in pinball. I mean, come on, they've done lunch boxes. They've done online games. Like, you can't tell me they're too highbrow for pinball. Like, I guarantee J.K. Rowling doesn't even know anything about pinball other than the Tommy, like the Who Tommy. And so, like, you know, she does not have a vendetta against pinball. There's no chance. Yeah. But it's eventually something like that will happen. Now, I don't really care. I actually checked out of Harry Potter and like the fifth movie, because that was when I was like, really, these kids in an after school club are taking out these elite wizards that are supposed to be like making everybody shake, but these kids who have like an after school program between their algebra and their toad licking, they were able to train up for this. So I was like, I'm done. But at some point it'll be done.
I don't think Jersey Jack has Harry Potter, just because
Joe Camancow.
Yeah, Joe Camancow is so, he's like, if anyone's going to get their license, it's me. Mm-hmm. And that man, he gets what he wants. We did an interview with him, and he has quite the sway in outside the pinball world. Oh yeah, I've learned that.
Yeah.
All right. So that's that. Like Godfather.
Godfather's coming out, to be determined what it's going to be. Okay. However, I will point this out. Let's do a quick theme recap, though. If you were to pick a theme that you're excited for, and I'm just gonna throw out the themes, and you can just say yes or no. Okay. Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Galactic Tank Force.
Meh.
I'm getting myself excited for it. Yeah. Okay. Before seeing the teaser, super excited. After seeing the teaser,
confused.
Yeah. Okay. A little worried.
All right. Okay. And then the Scott Denisi title for Multimorphic.
Interested.
Okay.
Yeah. Intrigued.
Godfather.
Means nothing to me.
Right. And I will say,
never seen a movie.
That's even pushing my early childhood. Like, this is like original 1970s Star
when the
Wars
movie came out.
Yeah. Original. So we're really catering to the crowd that either loves The Godfather, or you're like going for the Led Zeppelin crowd. Yeah. Because how many people are saying, wow, I really want to, and Jersey Jack pinball machines, they're super expensive now. So it's $15,000. How many of them are going to get that? You can get the Star Wars home pin edition for around $5,000.
Does this do better or worse than Toy Story?
I think worse. Just from thinking, like, Toy Story is like that family game room thing. And we talked about this before. Toy Story is actually just fine. Like the game is fine. It's not super deep, it's not super complex, but I guarantee that if it were a different price, I would have one. But that price was okay. That's not for me. That price point is not for me. And if that's really the direction that that Jersey Jack is going to be continually going, I don't think I want a $15,000 Godfather pinball machine when I could have a Foo Fighters, which is more of a fun like party game, which is why they make party games, because it gets your batteries going, right?
Yep.
I can say what worries me the most about Godfather coming out is that compared to anything else that JJP has came out with or anything else anybody else is coming, I've never really experienced this much of a lukewarm response to a theme. Like even like Bond, there was a lot of people that are just kind of like, I'm not sure. But even Godfather, it's almost non-existent.
Okay,
from everybody I talked to.
Bond, you have dun 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 dun
Yeah,
dun dun.
people recognize that. Yeah.
With Godfather, you have this like instrumental track. Okay, that feels like you're walking into a cigar lounge.
Yeah, it's almost like in order for this game to really hit it, it's almost like that it has, maybe it just takes place in the Godfather universe, but it's a different spin.
Like Jurassic Park.
Yeah, maybe that's the direction you go.
Wouldn't that be just Mafia then?
Yeah, and then you probably just call it Mafia. Well, Godfather probably has a bigger name though than Mafia.
Yeah,
I mean, to be fair. So
and this isn't a Gottlieb where you have gold wings and
right,
Hollywood Heat as opposed to Miami Vice.
Yeah, I'm just not sure about it. I mean, it's just so. I guess this leads back, and of course, we hear a lot of different people debate on themes and all that. But obviously, outside of Harry Potter, like, what's a couple of absolute banger themes that need to come out? That if you guys heard that either Jersey Jack or Stern were coming out with this theme, that you absolutely would have to play it, like no matter what.
Super Mario Brothers.
100%.
Yeah. That's what I would want. I would want Super
Legend
Mario
of Zelda.
Brothers.
I would want Legend of Zelda.
Legend of Zelda would be fine, but I mean Super Mario Brothers. The movie's coming out, which looks fantastic from the teaser trailers. It looks fun. It looks campy. It plays into multiple generations, and so that would be my go-to theme if you could do that. It would be Super Mario Brothers.
Perfect. So, Josh, what about you? What's yours?
Scott, I'm up there with Scott. Super Mario Brothers, Legend of Zelda. That just seems, I wasn't huge into Pokemon, but I think Pokemon would be a great theme. Movie wise, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I don't know. Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny.
So I will say there's 3 themes that by every stretch, from every bit of SEO I've seen, every bit of just asking, does this theme exist? And this is just from the common casual, right? Not even the hardcore pinball person.
Okay.
There's 3 major themes that I feel like would just do absolute gangbusters if they came out. So one of them, obviously Mario Brothers. And I think if they did it with the new movie that's coming out, you do it in that type of artwork.
I think
great.
The animations would be fantastic. Yeah, it's like Super Mario World, which is 3D. That would be awesome.
Yeah, you'd absolutely crush it. And I'll preface this with knowing that obviously it's hard to get certain license and hard to get assets and all that. So that's the first one. So you're dead on with that, Scott. Okay, number 2, Into the Spider-Verse. I think this pin, so I get it. Mm-hmm. People are just like another Marvel, another superhero, but this is different, right? This is a highly popular movie. If you look at how many views the trailer's gotten on YouTube, people are responding to it. Plus, you have a different character, right? That's Miles Morales. So you got your minority character that's very, very popular. You can basically
bring back Gwen Stacy too. So there's another. Yeah.
Exactly. And not only that, you can have a backdoor hip hop theme pin.
Oh yeah.
With the way that with the music. So you got the animations, you got the music, you got the different characters that because this character travels throughout the Spider-Verse. So you can pull in different Spider-Men from everywhere. I think that theme makes a lot of sense for pinball.
Yeah.
So that's number 2. We get asked about that a lot. And number 3 is an oldie but a goodie that needs an update, and that's South Park.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. No,
by
absolutely.
far.
Yeah.
By far. I am shocked how many people want this pin, because the pin is, we all know how South Park plays.
Terrible.
But people still want to play it just because they see South Park. Right. So if somebody did an update at South Park, my God, it would do a lot of business and a lot of great business.
You're right. And I think that I'm Stern to the other one. It would make sense if they were able to bring that back and do, kind of like, Data East did Jurassic Park and then Stern did Jurassic Park. If they did a similar treatment, just had a different take on it.
Just give South Park to Jack Danger. We've seen he does
absolutely.
weird.
That looks weird. That looks perfect.
There you go, right there. And the call out. I feel like the head guys of South Park too. They do all kinds of different like video games and everything. They do a lot of different stuff. Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like there could be so much fun to be had with that pin, and the current buying demographic where it's shifting to, because it is shifting dramatically more than what people realize after COVID. I feel like that's the sweet spot right there. It would be a big deal. I think
I would buy a South Park episode if they had the World of Warcraft as a mode.
Oh yeah. It's a treasure trove of different modes. You would just have to be like, okay, look, people are going to get offended, but it is what it is. It's South Park.
Yeah.
Roll with it.
Come on, they made The Sopranos. Like there's a mode that just swears at you. Come on.
Excuse me. The 2010s was the first time there wasn't a Playboy made for the last 4 decades. Yeah. Speaking of,
there was a Ronelli though.
There was, but that's yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That still shakes my head every time. I'm like, wow.
But the point being is I think Guns N' Roses has proved it. Obviously Godfather will show that there's still a demographic or a part of the market that wants adult themed machines, and adults are buying these games, so they're the ones that are going to decide whether they want it in their arcade.
It's basically the same thing as video games, right? Like I'm buying Nintendo because that is theme appropriate and it is G for my kids. Like that's what I'm buying. I'm not buying them Grand Theft Auto, but guess what? They sold a boatload of Grand Theft Autos to a different demographic.
Yeah.
It's like movies. There is a reason why there are movies outside of the Pixar universe, because people want to go see those movies. I'm not part of that demographic, but I don't pretend that I am the cross section of all the demographic in pinball.
Yeah.
So. Every one of those themes I think would sell gangbusters. And I think the Miles Morales would be a great take on and I know it's a little bit of a re-theme of a Stan Lee character, but it is a modern take on it. And so it doesn't feel like you're pulling from a character that was invented in the 60s.
Yeah. Right. It's a relevant character right now, and it's different than the MCU.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that character is going to show up at some point in the actual movies and everything through their version of it. But now that the rumors are rolling around that the live action Spider-Man are going to be showing up into the Spider-Verse 2, it's like there's going to be a lot of attention on this brand, and it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Well, and they greenlit Andrew Garfield getting another movie and Tobey Maguire getting another movie. Spider-Man's definitely going to blow up here in the next 5 years. It seems to be the hottest property right now at Marvel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, even the news was talking about like the movie news websites and all that they're planning on having Tom Holland's Spider-Man kind of take the lead or be one of the main leads for the new Avengers movies and all this. So they're definitely going to push that character hardcore. So
definitely.
It's like, why not take the low hanging fruit?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask, because we're starting to run out of time. Well, we kind of have, but I'm going to ask, is it a wise decision that everyone is dropping everything right now?
Okay. I'm going to answer first, and then I'm going to send it back to you, Josh, and then I'm actually going to send someone who has experience in selling pinball machines and see what he thinks. So, okay, I will say that is the answer, is it good or bad? Yes. And I know that's kind of a pass, but let me tell you what I'm thinking is that there is buzz for pinball, especially with Foo Fighter driving the bus on all of these things. And so you're going to get people who come in, and if you don't release now, then do you really think you're getting oxygen to your fire 2 months down the road?
Yeah.
If you release Galactic Hank Force, if you're doing it both at the same time, and we know people, I am not the guy who needs something unique. I have a Ford F-150, which is the most selling truck in the United States. Okay, I don't really care if I'm unique. If it works, it works for me. And so there are people who are like, everybody's getting Foo Fighters. I'm going to get that because it's different, and I can play Foo Fighters anywhere. So I think that at least it's not necessarily. I don't think Stern really cares because I don't think it really affects their sales. But there is a potential for different companies to piggyback onto the wave of Foo Fighters and say, "Oh, Foo Fighters is coming out. Oh, what else is coming out?" Yeah. So I will say that it's kind of it's a yes, it's bad and good, but they're going to get more buzz by releasing at the same time than they would if they waited.
Yep. And I think you're right there. I think the other thing is too, there's only so much limited money, right? At least for the people I talk to. And with this all coming out at the same time, I think it gives an opportunity to, oh yeah, I'll separate my money here or there, versus because all these games are going to go out quick, right? Stern has proven they can produce in 2 weeks. I mean, Bond's an anomaly. We're taking that off the table, but all the other releases, it's been within 2 weeks. They're getting them into arcades and they're getting to people's homes. And then with Toy Story, JJP proved they produce a lot of games, and then when they release, they're getting them in within days, like 2-3 days after they unveil. So if that's what the same with Godfather, these games are going to be right into homes. American Pinball proved this along with Legends of Valhalla. Mm-hmm. They had games produced. They were getting into homes. They had them in arcades when they revealed. So money's going to go out, and it's going to go out quick. Yeah. I think that's what you have to do with this is you're going to be fighting Stern. You're going to be fighting JJP or American or whatever. But if it's better to do it now, my feeling, than in 2-3 months when the money's all gone, everyone, the refund money's gone, and then you reveal March, April, May, or sorry, May, June, July, and no one wants to buy your pinball machine because they spent it on 3 other ones that they now have to either get rid of because it's in their home,
right?
Instead of where it used to be, we're announcing it, and Stern's the only one that's getting it into 2 weeks. You might have your game in 3 months. I really think this is the only way to go. And the great part is we all win because they're showing it now, but a lot of this is all going to be at TPF.
Yeah.
And the other interesting part too is all the themes are different. You've got Foo Fighters, which is aliens and a band. You've got Godfather, which is a movie from the 70s. That's an American Film Institute classic. You've got an unlicensed name in Galactic Tank Force. You've got Project Carbon, whatever that's supposed to be from Scott Denisi, but it's probably going to be electric dance theme, brutality in your face. And then we're hearing Pulp Fiction is the 5th one, which is a cult classic from the 90s. There's not, I feel like these
not
are all
a lot
very
of overlap. There's a lot of parallel lanes going on.
Yes, there's a lot of
and
Venn diagrams that do not touch in this one.
And do you think that if you have it now, then there's a potential for a few people who are all in the same buying thing? It's like, well, he's getting that, I'm going to get that.
Yeah, possibly, but I think we see it with CGC and Cactus Canyon. I think the train has left the station on that one. People still want it, but it's not as highly.
The train has left the station. That's the problem.
But my point being
there's no tickets to the train. You can't buy a ticket to the train because the train is broken.
But it's taken so long to get those out that the hype's kind of gone, and people, there's still people that want them. But the problem is the new trains are coming into the station. That's what we're aiming for.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are you thinking, Travis?
Well, as a pinball fan, I'm super excited about all this coming out at the same time. If I'm working with one of these companies, I'm not spooky. I'm happy. I'm okay. It's came out. Stern, happy. I'm okay. It's came out. Everybody else, I might be a little bit nervous at this point, right? Just because you're going to be competing for the same spot. But the problem is you have to run your race, right?
Yeah.
You can't, if you start scheduling around other people, it makes it very difficult in terms of keeping your business running and keeping cash flow going, keeping projects on time. I mean, that would make it incredibly difficult. And it's hard to pivot back and forth like that. I see this more or less that what I hope is that the companies that are debuting a game at TPF, assuming the games, which I don't think anybody's said yet that they're debuting a game at TPF. We're just all making that assumption.
Yeah.
Like, is there anybody truly doing that?
Yeah, I don't know about debuting. At least 4 of them have teased. And so
What I would do, what I would be pushing for hardcore is to do something that would get people talking, right? The most, make the biggest splash, right?
Yeah.
And I think the biggest splash that could be made is not saying you're debuting at TPF or anything like that, right? You have your thing scheduled for, I guess, for people to come think that you're talking or whatever, right? But people are kind of assuming, oh, you're going to show off the game. But then imagine if not only do you debut the game, you say, oh, by the way, we have 10 new in box right now, and they're going to be sold this weekend.
Right.
You can take it home right now, today.
Yeah.
Like, instantly, you become relevant in the conversation without even having to move a ton of units. Like, imagine if Jersey Jack did that with Godfather, to where we're all wondering, okay, what about this theme, this and that? But they come out and they're like, oh, here's the game. And then behind this curtain, oh, by the way, here's 5 to 10 games right here, new in box that you can play. Because even like, think about when Alice Cooper debuted a few years ago, everybody was waiting in line for it, right? For that spooky game and watching it get willed in, like, oh, we get to play it here. I mean, I think it would be something special if somebody was able to get a game in box without it being announced that it was going to be sold right then and there, and then they go ahead and put it up for sale. I think then you capture a lot of attention, you capture money early on, you get people talking. I think that's a huge momentum. So you could kind of turn this thing upside down on its head. It's like, okay, that company over there, they're debuting their game. Hey, it's there. Hey, guess what? We're debuting our game, and you can take it home, like right now. I don't know if that's possible, but that's just what I would have been pushing for.
If you want to be first, right? If you're saying, well, you can either wait for your Foo Fighters Premium on the second run, 6 months away, or 3 months, or 4 months away, or you can take home this beauty right now.
And I wonder if Jersey Jack might do that, because with Toy Story, they came out with that game so quickly. I think it was like, what, the next day? I think I had one within 48 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say you had yours less than 48 hours.
Yeah, it was quick. And so something like that, that's unique that they were able to do that. So if they could turn right around and just literally debut the game and then get it sold to where not only can you play it here, you could take it home with you. I mean, that'd get people talking. I don't think that's been done at a show, at least not in recent memory, from a modern pinball company.
Yeah. I don't know about that. That's a good question. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to leave it at that. I do want to bring up one thing. When we had Joel on, we did top 100. It was Scott versus Joel. Scott had Star Wars. Joel had Pinbot. Travis, do you want to take a stab at who won that one?
So this is where they both had to describe it and fight for their machine and all that?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Definitely Scott. Like, Joel, the way that Joel was describing, I'm sorry, people would only vote for him if they felt sorry for him.
And I gave an amazing, accurate description on Star Wars.
Oh, my goodness.
You did. It was perfect.
So actually, Scott lost by like a landslide.
Oh.
You need to see, everybody just feels sorry for Joel. Like,
so this is the one. This is the one that caught me. Was I choose Star Wars just because Scott Larson did not want to win. Sorry, Joel. That was just
Okay, I will say that you chose some games that I have very strong non-interest in.
I did not choose them. The random number generator.
Yes, I know.
If we had enough time, you know what? We should just do another one right now.
Let's do it. I'm game. Let's go.
Want to do it? All right.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
I got
All right,
extra
bringing it
time.
back. Segment steal. We've got another couple minutes to do this. Let's hurry and do it.
We got another triple drain guy.
Yes. Travis versus
Loser
Scott.
Kid 3. Loser
Yes.
Kid 3.
LK3.
Loser Kid 3. Okay, Scott, since you let Joel go first last time, I'm making you go first this time. You ready?
Okay. All right.
Your number is 87. Is that what we got last time?
Oh my gosh. Is it? Did you refresh?
See, I told you it was rigged for Joel. I knew
it was rigged for Joel.
Okay, top run. I'm going to the top.
It is
100.
Pinbot. So no, we're re-rolling.
Oh my
this.
gosh! Seriously.
Okay.
No.
23.
Okay.
How about that?
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Okay.
All right. All right,
That's
Travis, you ready?
Okay, remind me of the rules. What do I got to do? Do I just bash on it?
18 is your number. So the first one is you're going to talk about your game. You're welcome to use any resource if you want to use the flyer itself, or if you just want to talk from personal experience. You got 30 seconds to talk about your game. Then second round, you can either talk your game up more or you can bash the other person's game. Third round is closing remarks. And then we'll throw it to the audience that is listening right now, and they can vote to say who has the better argument. It's not the better machine, because I noticed that in the comments is like, oh, Star Wars sucks. It's pinball all day. And anywho, that's what we're trying to do. So Scott, yours was, what did you say again, Scott?
It's Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka. Oh, this is the battle of the JJPs. So Travis has Guns N' Roses.
GNR.
GNR. They're both shaking their heads on this one.
GTR.
All right, I've got my watch up and ready. I will say time when it's time to stop, okay?
Okay.
Because obviously when I said...
Not like you said, and Joel's like, oh, I got time. I'll keep talking for 45 seconds.
All right, so Scott's going first, and he's talking up his game, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I'll be quiet.
Go.
Okay, this actually is probably one of Pat Lawler's better games. I don't know if it doesn't capture the same thing as like an Addams Family or a Twilight Zone, but we're in a different era. This is a modern take on that game. It actually is a very good shooting game. Theme integration is fantastic on this, and the shots actually feel very smooth. It's not as difficult as Dialed In, so it is a little more accessible. And this is an awesome game that you can have for the family, and they'll come over and they'll want to play it.
All right. Give you a good example of what we're doing, Travis?
Oh, yeah, I'm convinced. I need a Willy Wonka right now.
Ouch.
All right. All right, you ready, Travis?
30 seconds?
Yep, and go.
All right, if you love playing with a ton of pinballs nonstop and just chimp flipping and silverback flipping and the game never ending, Jersey Jack Guns N' Roses is for you. Now, if you can avoid getting a seizure due to all the light show that happens, and if your ears don't start bleeding, because let's face it, it's Guns N' Roses. I mean, it is what it is. But if you can get through all that and you play with all the balls, my God, fantastic game. Blows Willy Wonka out the water. I don't even know why I'm wasting my breath anymore.
I can see how this one's going to go already.
My game's so much better. I'm going to win. I'm going to win.
Your game has way more balls than mine does. That's definitely true. It's Guns N' Roses.
Okay,
you got the balls. You got the balls if you're playing this game, because my gosh, you have like 30 balls that you can get, and you can keep draining nonstop, and you can keep going on this. However, if you want like the total immersion experience, then yes, Guns N' Roses is your game. If you actually want to be able to get into, a legend of design like Pat Lawler, who will be able to do it. I mean, this is Eric's second game. Like, come on, he still hasn't proved himself. He cannot say he's better than Pat right now. Pat has like 500 games.
Okay, time. You just went out of the gun. You're just like going out of the chute, right? You're just like, I'm just doing this. Okay,
Travis, balls ablazing.
Let's hear your rebuttal, Travis.
You know what? The simple rebuttal is Willy Wonka creeps me the F out, and it should creep you guys out as well. Let's face facts.
It's not the Michael Jackson one.
He has a factory with little Oompa Loompas Those things creep me out. Literally, he lost a girl in the freaking river or a kid in the river. Remember that? I like, who knows where that kid went? Probably in the back of a milk carton. Oh yeah, and the machine, it has like super spinner and you collect chocolate bars and stuff like that. Yay.
All right, time.
Okay, so did you watch this with Monica and she kicked you out like Twilight because you were like ruining the horror suspense of it?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that's actually true. We tried to watch the newest Willy Wonka because she loves Johnny Depp.
It is nearly unwatchable. You're like, what am I watching? Hey, did you know those squirrels in the new Willy Wonka were like trained squirrels? They weren't CGI. How weird is that?
That's pretty weird.
I didn't even know you could train a squirrel.
I didn't know that either.
I would have voted for Willy Wonka if Pat Lawler would have trained a squirrel for the game.
He rethemed it as no good squirrels.
All right, Scott, give us your conclusion. Go.
Okay, in all sincerity, Willy Wonka is a fantastic game. The rule set is very accessible. The shots are very good. It actually has that feel of a classic Pat Lawler game, and so if you are really big fan of that feel, the Twilight Zone, the Addams Family, it actually fits right in with that. But it is a theme that people find beloved.
All right, time. All right, give us your closing remarks, Travis.
My game actually has Slash on it.
Yeah.
Like that's all I got to say. I mean, you're comparing Slash and Willy Wonka, right? I mean, last time I checked, Slash didn't lose any kids in a chocolate river, so it's perfectly fine.
It also has an animated skeleton sex scene. So,
that's fair. I can't defend that.
All right. Oh my goodness.
We may have to put a PG rating on this one.
It does have that.
Yeah. On the adult mode, yes. On the adult. Now, I will say, my friend does have a Guns N' Roses, and I actually do have fun playing it. I've always compared it to, it is the most immersive experience in a pinball machine you can have playing that game. Yeah. It really does feel like you're at a concert.
It's a fun party game.
Yes.
If you have it at home and you crank up the volume and you turn the lights out, it's a fun party game. I enjoy it for that.
Yeah.
And the skeleton sex scenes as well in it.
Yeah.
I played Wonka, got some really good time on it like a couple months ago. Like I played it here and there. I still do not like the upper flipper shot. It's too blocked. It's too hard to see.
This is the challenge with Lawler, is you either are a Lawler fan or you're not. There doesn't seem to be a lot of in between. People have nostalgia for Addams Family because that seems to be the gateway pin of my generation. But I actually never played pinball until like 10 years ago. So I don't have that connection with Addams Family or even Twilight Zone. I have a Twilight Zone, but it's one that's been at someone else's house for a while. So I don't really miss it. So I appreciate Wonka for what it is. I am not the person who loves the Lawler approach to games. It's way too much trap and shoot.
Yeah.
So,
alrighty.
Anyway. All right.
I think we've kept Travis up late enough. He's already had 25 plus hours of pinball.
Oh my gosh.
No, I enjoyed it. This is now I learned something new about Jersey Jack with the Guns N' Roses. Yeah. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah. Woo. That is, for anybody wondering about getting Guns N' Roses, there is a family mode in case you want to make sure it's a little less. You may have to put pasties on the little slingshots.
I forgot. Wasn't one of the patches? It was like a bra and panties too, right?
It is.
Patches.
Yeah.
God, I should have added that in. Totally forgot about that. I was so stuck on talking about how Willy Wonka was a creep. I should have just went all in.
Yeah, no,
on the panties.
Yeah, Willy Wonka is a total creep, and also the video is not of young Axel. It's kind of the older Axel.
I mean, Axel's a little past his prime in that, but it's okay. You know, it's
Let's just say it seems like he's hit a few speed bumps going 100 miles an hour.
I'm telling you, if you zoomed up on Axel and you watched him, you wouldn't know if you're watching that or Goonies with Mama. What's her name? Mama Fratelli or whatever.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh my goodness!
Great. I can't look at the same anymore.
Actually, there's another thing that I'll show you. I'll just send it to you and you'll take a look at it. It's awesome.
All right.
Okay, I can accept that.
Well, we thank you, Travis, for coming on. If you want someone to get a hold of you, where can we find you?
Oh gosh, probably. Unfortunately, I think after this podcast, I'm probably going to get sent back to Triple Drain. So I guess you guys can find me there. I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate. I apologize for Joel. I mean, Tom's great.
Hey,
Tom's
actually just realized Joel messaged us like 15 minutes ago and said, "Hey, how'd it go?"
Is he trying to join?
Oh, Joel on.
Hey, guys, let him on real quick, and then we'll just let him on.
I don't know if he's still up. He actually just said,
"No, he's still up." Tell him I'm not here. Do you guys have bleeps? You guys have bleeps, don't you? That's how we're going to.
I put it in the after stuff, so yeah, it doesn't bother me.
I just want his reaction to this if he shows up.
Already have the gear tore down.
What a baby! All right, I can just pick it up from right here.
All right, sounds good.
And that's exactly why I need to leave Triple Drain right there.
Mm-hmm.
Unreliable, Joel.
Right. We're sending out the contract right now, and we'll get you sign and trade, I guess, because you can get more of a deal if you sign and then trade, like the Supermax deal.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I know everybody jokes about trading me for Elwyn and all that, but it's fine. I'm like the knockoff version from overseas that comes back and it looks nothing like the original or anything like that. So I mean,
it's like it's like the soap operas where they change out actors, but they for some reason get like some facial reconstruction. So yeah,
like Michael Jackson.
Oh, jeez. Is that what happened? His life was a soap opera.
Oh my goodness. Well, we do appreciate you coming on, Travis. It's been great having you on. We'll have to have you on more often. This was awesome.
Yeah.
If you want to get a hold of us, we are Loser Kid Pinball Podcast at gmail.com. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Is that all of them? We're on everything now. And Scott's like, we need to do a YouTube video because apparently he wants people to see our face. So I don't know. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Don't forget, live right now, you can get our shoes, you can get our shirt, and you want these for Texas Pinball Festival because you want to be the coolest kid at the party. So
the coolest loser kid.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So, which will definitely be true because Josh and I are staying home with the kids while our wives go to concerts.
Exactly. So. All right, Scott. Actually, no, Travis, give us the last word.
Wow, I don't know what to do with that.
Bye, Foo Fighters.
Yep, get all the Foo Fighters. Bye.
Romantic, isn't it? Shut up and sit down.
Got it. All right, I'm here.
Oh, cool. Hey, Joel.
Yeah.
You. I'm with Loser Kid now.
Oh, we have a family-friendly podcast there, Trent. I don't think you think you forgot that. Yeah.
I will say when I'm listening to you guys, I do have to have the headphones on because otherwise my kids are going to drop a few F-bombs.
Yeah, that's all Tom.
Well, I've got it recorded now. Well, you guys already know the answer, but Joel.
Yeah.
You've got Cactus Canyon there.
Sure do.
You've seen Cowboys. What are the pants that go over their pants called?
Oh, pants that
like the leather things that protect
chaps.
Yep,
Chaps.
see?
Chaps.
Chaps.
So it's pronounced chaps?
Yeah, it's chaps.
Let me guess. So Travis said it like something completely.
What am I saying? You're the one that said it wrong. You're saying it wrong right now.
What is it?
Chaps.
Apparently they're French.
Yeah.
Chaps?
Yeah,
Chaps.
congrats.
It is
Spelled
spelled
educated.
Yeah,
it
the
is
heck with
spelled
that.
CHAPS.
Nah.
But it's short for chaparreras.
Sounds like you shapped your parents.
I'm going to stick with chaps. We're going to roll with that. Yep.
Yeah.
So this is what this is the fun pinball conversation you guys have been talking about? Yeah.